Today, we're going to tackle a word that, let's be honest, can make a lot of us feel a little weird. That word is connections. But what if we could flip that script? What if we could turn that feeling of discomfort into an actual superpower? Let's dive into how you can use your network the right way to build a better career and, honestly, a better life.
Okay, let's just get right into it. For so many of us, the word connection feels a little bit dirty, doesn't it? It kind of brings up these images of shady, backroom deals and people getting ahead unfairly. And that negative vibe is so strong, it can actually make us feel disgusted, just like it says here.
So where does that stigma even come from? Well, it really comes from seeing connections used in ways that just feel fundamentally unfair. You know, like it's a game rigged to help a few people at the expense of everybody else.
I mean, here's the classic example we all know, right? Someone uses their personal relationship to get their kid into a top school, a spot they absolutely did not earn. This isn't just helping someone out, it's actively hurting another kid who actually deserved to be there. This is exactly the kind of thing that makes us feel so gross about the whole idea.
And this, right here, this is the core of the problem. We get so worried about being seen as one of those people, the corrupt ones, the ones who think they're entitled, that we just stop. We avoid using our own networks completely. And what happens? We end up limiting our own potential.
But what if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if having connections isn't the problem at all? What if it's all about how we use them? This is a really critical distinction that can change everything.
I absolutely love this analogy. Having a connection is kind of like being born with a famous last name. It's not your fault, you didn't ask for it, it's just your situation. The problem only starts when that connection is used to get an unfair leg up. It's never the connection itself that's bad, it's all about how it's used. Now, let's look at a totally different scenario. Here, you use your connection to help a friend find the right doctor during a family emergency. And notice the key difference. You're not asking for them to jump the line or get special treatment. Nope, you're just using your network to point someone in need to a great resource. It's about being efficient and helpful, not about cheating. Nobody gets harmed in this process.
So here's the big takeaway. We've got to shift our whole mindset. A connection isn't about gaming the system. It's about creating a community, a web of mutual support that helps everyone solve problems faster and better.
Okay, so now that we've got our heads in the right space, let's get practical. How do we actually manage our connections the right way? Well, we're going to start with a little cautionary tale to show you exactly what not to do.
Okay, so picture this. Some guy gets his friend to pull some strings to get him into this exclusive event. But instead of participating and adding value, he just goes into full-on sales mode, treating everyone like a target. He's a total wolf among sheep. And in the end, he doesn't just burn a bridge for himself. He makes his friend, the one who vouched for him, look terrible. This story is just the perfect example of someone with a taker mindset. So how do we avoid falling into that trap ourselves? And, just as importantly, protect our own network? Well, it turns out there are 3 essential rules to follow.
These 3 rules are basically your guide for ethical networking. First, you have to know your own value. You always have something to offer. Second, think of your network like a bank account. You can't just make withdrawals all the time without making any deposits. And third, be smart. Be strategic about how you use your connections.
This example just perfectly drives that third point home. It's kind of funny, but it's so true. If you need help moving furniture, you're not going to call a government minister, are you? That would be a ridiculous waste of everyone's time. You call the local guy who can actually help. It's all about matching the problem to the right person and respecting their time and expertise. So we've talked about how to use the network you already have. But what about building new, real connections? The secret is actually pretty simple. You have to be a giver.
Now, being a giver doesn't mean you have to be rich or buy people fancy gifts. The most valuable thing you have to offer is what's already in your head, your knowledge. Share what you know, whether it's on social media, in a conversation, or just by connecting 2 people who you think should meet. When you're constantly adding value to others, you will naturally attract an amazing network of genuine people. All right, now for the final, and maybe the most important piece of this whole puzzle. You don't need to go out and build some powerful network from nothing. Why? Because you already have one.
I mean, just think about that for a second. This is such a huge mindset shift. We think networking is this scary thing we have to go out and do. But the truth is, you've been building a network your entire life, probably without even noticing it. Your superpower is literally in your pocket. It's right there in your phone's contact list, your old classmates, your former colleagues. So the real challenge isn't building a network from scratch, it's just recognizing the incredible one you already have and making the choice to nurture it for good.
So let's just leave it with this. Your network isn't something to be ashamed of, and it's definitely not something to be exploited. It's a community, it's a resource, and when you use it the right way, it's a powerful force for good. The only question left is, how are you going to use your superpower?